Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now the end of March of 2022, and ever since the very end of TV shows out there like The Mandalorian Season 2, The Bad Batch, and yes, The Book of Boba Fett, a lot of Star Wars fans are really looking forward to new TV shows such as the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series, the Ahsoka Tano TV show. We also have Mando Season 3 and 4 in the works. There's a lot of things in the roadmap of the franchise that are going to be released this year and next year that's really going to surprise a lot of the fandom around the entire globe. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, if you would like to go ahead and drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, I thank you also very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, here we are, it is the end of March. Time is just flying by, and we are getting close to April. Now, I've talked about this before in the past, but April is by far the most important month for Disney and Lucasfilm when it comes to the early roadmap of the Star Wars universe. This is the very month in which the Ahsoka Tano series begins filming, The Mandalorian Season 3 officially enters post-production, and when Lucasfilm begins working on dozens of new Star Wars projects that will be announced at Star Wars Celebration, a lot of which are in the early development phase and have yet to enter pre-production, but they are going to be further into the early works in order to get that established. Now, when we look at everything related to the Mandalorian himself, the actual character Din Djarin, portrayed by Pedro Pascal, we know that there's been a lot of drama behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm happening between Pedro, and Disney CEO Bob Chapek and the Disney board members, and what's really all the more intriguing is exactly what recently has actually developed involving not just the character but also the actor Pedro Pascal, and what's really happening with The Mandalorian Season 4. Now, as you all know, John and Dave want to make 4 the last and final season. Now, with that being said, with both Disney and Lucasfilm beginning to work on the Ahsoka Tano TV show with John and Dave Filoni, they are also focused on creating The Mandalorian Season 4, which is set to take place some years after Season 3. However, it's noted that currently Disney CEO Bob Chapek is making some large adjustments to the Star Wars universe behind the scenes. Now, it's noted, however, that actor Pedro Pascal is very frustrated and angry with not only Disney CEO Bob Chapek, but also the Disney board members for making a certain call and decision for The Mandalorian Season 4. Now, it's described that Pedro Pascal recently has been demanding to have his helmet off most of the time in Season 4, as he is getting very exhausted of being an actor only recognized now as the Mandalorian with the helmet on, when the character has barely shown his face. Pedro Pascal is said to have been demanding Disney to give him the Boba Fett treatment of what they did with Tamara Morrison by actually having the helmet off in a 70-30 situation. Pascal has been demanding this for the past number of months before they begin pre-production on Mando Season 4, and now Disney made the final decision to once again not show Pedro Pascal's face in The Mandalorian Season 4, and only for a special scene in the new season that is planned to drop in 2023. Now, let me just, pause right here for a second. The thing about that is, when you look at what they did with Boba Fett, alright, that's one thing that I think a lot of fans didn't necessarily hate, but a lot of fans didn't necessarily enjoy it to their maximum, right? There's a lot of things with Boba Fett. I know that he was never really a truly large character to begin with as far as screen time goes in the original trilogy, but he was a significant character in pop culture within the Star Wars universe because of everything related to how the fans saw the character, being that mysterious character with the helmet on. So it was surprising to a lot of the fandom to actually see Tamara Morrison's face for the majority of the Book of Boba Fett, because they wanted to give a more human side to the character. That's what they wanted to do. Whereas with Din Djarin, they're giving a more opposite version of that. They want to keep that mysterious aspect of the character in place for both Season 3 and 4, and they don't want to show his face too much. Now, they did do that a little bit in the past season. They did that with Season 2, where we got to see his face, and some fans liked it, some fans didn't like it. And at the end of the day, when you think about it like this, some characters need to have a helmet on to keep that mysterious aspect intact. Now, this is where Pedro Pascal, alright, gets further involved. Now, Pascal is actually described to be giving Disney an ultimatum, that if they stick with this decision, that he will no longer allow himself to be in other shows that require the Mandalorian's presence. Pascal is also very upset and annoyed over the fact that they are also not raising his income or pay to a significantly higher amount for Season 4 in comparison to what they are paying him for Season 3. Now, additionally, Pedro has been pushing and using Disney to give him mostly face time in The Mandalorian Season 4, and have little to no helmet scenes. Disney argued over the fact that this is what the Mandalorian character is, having the helmet on and being mysterious, and should remain as is. Removing the helmet too long in Disney's eyes would only warp the image by the fans of the character and his mysterious attitude. Pedro Pascal is standing by his ultimatum still to not return for future Star Wars shows after Mando Season 4, unless Disney gives him the face time he wants and needs to be satisfied. Now, Pedro is also described to be livid over the fact that Bob Chapek is not supporting his requests, given that they did do this, of course, with Boba Fett's character. However, so far, Disney has no intentions for a Boba Fett Season 2, and they are still in negotiations on renewing the Book of Boba Fett for a second season. However, most of the Disney board members want nothing to do with that show. Pedro Pascal is set to only have minimal face time as Din Djarin in Season 3 for 2 special scenes, and Pedro believes that they lowballed him with how much face time he got in the 3rd season, which is described to be the most important and lore-driven season yet for fans around the globe. Now, let me just pause right there for a second before we move on to something that's even more important here, is that I think that Pedro Pascal is being a little too tense, a little too uptight about all of this. You know, at the end of the day, I think that he should be proud that he's even involved in a massive franchise as Star Wars. At the end of the day, who really cares if you're not being recognized as that guy who is, you know, portraying the Mandalorian, or that guy who is Pedro Pascal? I think at the end of the day, he should really be grateful that he's involved in a project this large, with a company this big, and especially a universe that is ever evolving, that's going to require his presence for, you know, who knows how many projects for the next number of years. He should be very proud of that, and he should actually also realize that there are going to be scenarios where the helmet comes off regardless anyway. Fans are going to know what your face looks like. They don't need to see your face all the time to know what your face looks like, right? So you should look at it like that, you know? Even if your face is shown for a good 5-6 minutes in a season, that's more than enough for fans to recognize who Pedro Pascal is. And I guess he's fighting that, you know, he's fighting that whole actor thing where some actors are only recognized as this or that and not what they really want to be recognized as. Some actors want to be known for multiple different things. So I guess that's his problem. It comes off like Pedro is not a true Star Wars fan, in which I don't believe he is. I never really see him talking about the lore or really getting into it like Mark Hamill does. He's a true fan of Star Wars, by the way. But when you look at everything related to Pedro, this is just another prime example about how he actually acts. So the other thing is this, is that Pedro is, yes, giving that ultimatum on not returning after Season 4 unless Bob Chapek and the Disney board members actually satisfy him with the demands that he is giving in return. So I don't think they're gonna do that at the end of the day, because they want to keep that mysterious aspect intact. So overall, guys, you know, drop a comment below. Let me know all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No hiding from night to moon.